Going? How's everybody doing? We all good? Okay, yes, we are live. I see us. Hello, hello. Hi. Okay, now curious to know, can you either of you see each other now or you still can't see each other? Okay. All right, awesome. Well, welcome everyone. Today I'm talking with a couple of very special guests. To one side of me, I have Lindsay Janney, who is a self transformation coach. And on the other side, I've got Audrey Lamont, who is an actor and a martial arts instructor. Welcome, ladies.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Catherine.
Thank you for joining me. I thought this would be super fun. So, I wanted to start off, first of all, with what you do in your business. So let's start with Lindsay. Just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, thank you. So, my name is Lindsay Janney, and I am a little under the weather. So, if I sound a little nasally today, this is not anything to do with the program. This is just me. I am a self transformation coach, and I help people master their happiness by mastering their energy and their minds. So, that's me in a nutshell.
Amazing. And you're very good at what you do, I have to say, from
Oh,
personal experience.
thank you.
And how
Appreciate that.
about you, Audrey? What's your story?
Well, hi, Catherine. And Lindsay, you don't sound nasally at all. I think I sound a little nasally, but I'm okay with that. I am an actor and I'm also a martial arts instructor, as you said, and I help people to be their best, to build up their self-confidence in a class setting and just to help people become better citizens through their martial arts.
Oh, I love that. And you know what I love about this program that I created is I find it so fascinating because it works for everyone. On one side of me, I've got an actor. On another side, I've got a self transformation coach. And the fascinating thing about this is that we all use our voice and we all have strengths and weaknesses and insecurities. And so I thought, let's start with that. Why did you want to work on your voice? Why voice for business? What was it about this program that enticed you to start focusing a little bit more on your voice? Do you want to start, Lindsay?
Sure. So, oh boy, where do I even begin? So, I was petrified, literally petrified to show up on a podcast, which I am now starting my own. I was so scared to go live on Instagram, to let alone hold a challenge or go on a webinar, to do anything that required me to be on camera or to just have my voice being recorded because I thought I sounded really weird. And so, it's one of those things where you hear it, like maybe when, oh gosh, am I dating myself? When you used to hear yourself on an answering machine. I'm
Oh, the
dating
good
myself.
old days.
Yeah. And
Yes.
you'd hear your voice replay and you're like, wow, that sounds not like my voice. And so, and then you go, oh, do I really sound like that? And so I was really insecure, and I had been on, I think, a couple of other podcasts before I started working with Catherine. And I realized that I was a really fast talker. And I got really subconscious after I had heard myself speak on another person's podcast. And I was like, wow. I sped through that. I was so nervous about showing up, and I really just couldn't I just couldn't imagine what I actually looked like on the other side after hearing that. And so it was a really great podcast, and I feel like I delivered great value, but I knew what to say sometimes, but I just didn't know what to say, you know,
Mm.
and make it actually sound good. And so now it, I was just so afraid. And I knew that holding my voice back and not standing up and being able to present or even feeling like I could show up on a story was really holding my business back. and keeping people from finding me, from connecting with me, and from really understanding what I did. Because when I'm one-on-one, I'm fine. But when I was one to many and I couldn't see somebody's face, it was so scary. And I didn't know what to say. I would go completely blank and I just didn't. And for somebody who works with energy, I felt like I lost my control of it completely when I would go live.
Oh, that's interesting. All right, we're going to touch on that energy in just a moment because that's a really key point as well. I'm going to invite, we have one more guest joining us. I'm going to invite Dana to the panel. Hi, Dana. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Really good. Thank you for joining us. So, we're just getting going. We haven't done really much except we're just starting to introduce everyone. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. I am Dana Welfare, and my company is Trained to Sustain. I help women to lose fat and keep it off while eating the foods they love using macro tracking as a tool.
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I will get back to you in just one moment. Audrey,
Yeah.
tell us also about why you decided to join Voice for Business, because I know it's very different. You and I have worked on your American accent together because I do a lot of American accent coaching. So this is a totally different program. What drew you to this one? Why did you want to work on your voice just in general?
I think even when we were working with each other in our, like with my American accent, you would always give me feedback that I sounded robotic and it was quite monotonous and there wasn't that light and shade in my voice, especially when I had to deal with scripted material as well. And also, even when I was chatting to someone live, I felt like I was getting in my head way too much. So I knew that I had all these things going on in the background. I didn't really know what to do about it. I was aware. I mean, I could see it on camera. I could also hear it in playback. Things weren't sounding as natural as I wanted them to, and I just knew I needed to do something about it, but I didn't know what it was. I think for me it was more of a mindset issue. I was always quite comfortable with how my voice sounded, how it projected, but sometimes it just didn't come across as being as natural and as authentic as what I wanted it to. So that was part of the reason I wanted to work with you a little bit more. I knew that I had to lift. I knew that perhaps there was something inside me that maybe I was scared or I just couldn't let go. I was way too much in my head. So I think for me, it was just being able to relax and be myself and enjoy the whole process. And that's why I wanted to work with you, just going out there and being comfortable, showing up, as you say, as myself.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it really is a big mindset thing. And I think all of you have worked that out is a lot of it is how we think right before we speak really plays a big toll on the perception, not just for our audience, but even for ourselves. Like Lindsay was saying in the playback, when you listen to your voice and go, oh, geez, is that me? Like, do I really sound like that? So I think a lot of us feel that way. I know I felt that way. And I remember when I first started doing voiceovers, I hated listening to my voice. And I thought, well, I better get over this pretty quickly if this is what I want to do, is I'm going to have to listen. Other people are going to be listening to my voice, so I better work on that. So it definitely is a mindset thing. And Dana, you're actually currently in the program, which is really fun. I'm having such a great time with all of you that are in the program right now. What was it about Voice for Business that you said, you know what, I need to join that thing?
Yeah, for me, it was about confidence and just being, I don't know, like at one with my voice. I knew I needed to use my voice on social media to talk about what I do and to share what I offer to people. But the idea of speaking just really made me nervous, and hearing my voice made me cringe. I was one of those as well. And so I just thought, you know what? how awesome would it be to get another perspective, someone who is outside of myself, but can give me great feedback as to, what am I doing? How do I sound? How does it come off? And so for me, even in just this short time, it's been eye-opening and really amazing. It's exactly what I needed.
Oh, that's so great to hear. And actually, that was my next question is, has there been a moment, because you're still working through it right now,
Oh yeah.
what's been a moment where you said, oh my gosh, this has been really eye-opening, or the light bulb clicked and something really set in for you with your voice?
I will say there were two moments. One of them is it really has to do with making some slight adjustments in how I enunciated words or how I held my mouth, and just seeing how the different sounds um, came out, how I enjoyed, sounding like, oh my gosh, I like the way I sound when I say it like this. Oh, my resonance, or, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that or saying that properly, but that was major. But there was something else. There was an activity specifically where we went back and kind of looked at our voice story. And for me, that was very
That's
powerful.
right. I do remember
Yes.
when we were going through that. At first, you weren't really sure what that moment was. And then
Mhm.
we were talking, and there was something you brought up, which you thought was just sort of like a casual thing, but that ended up being the thing that's held you back.
Exactly. It has. And so it's a lot of awareness. It's seeing the blind spots, which is really what we need to help improve in anything, honestly. But in this particular facet of my life, it's my voice. And so that's definitely been something that I appreciate. And you would think it doesn't matter. You would think, why does it matter? Um, but it does. It's almost like giving yourself the permission to say, okay, this is why you're hung up or you're struggling with something. And it's like, okay, well, I identified it. Now we can move forward.
Mm.
Let's move forward and grow. And so, yeah,
Oh,
I'm happy that I've just gotten so much awareness here, and just we're not even done.
I
We're not
know.
even finished.
Oh, we just got started. But
Yeah.
that's the really cool thing is how quickly things shift, and then you start to notice results because you can implement it straight away in
Mhm.
what you're doing.
The fact that you can absolutely implement it immediately is amazing. You can get on Instagram if that's your platform and express yourself focusing on that one item and see the difference of how you felt, how you sound. I don't cringe as much to hear my voice. And I know it's gonna get better. It's not like an overnight, okay, you see a class and all of a sudden you're done. It's constant practice, but now it's focused. It's not just, oh, I want my voice to be better. It's, I know exactly what I'm working on, and I know exactly what the goal is. It's just, now let's do it. Let's go.
Love it. Makes me so happy. What about for you, Lindsay? You were one of my first members. What was one of the
Oh,
defining moments where you went, oh,
think like
aha?
what? That's a good question. I think that, kind of going back into that story, I'm able to help people find their stories and what holds them back. But, looking at your own self and having that mirror held up to you is really helpful too, because even though this is what I do, I have my blind spots as well. And sometimes you just need somebody to hold that mirror up and guide you through something. And it was my story that when I was in the third grade, I was up on stage and I had just I was coming down with the chicken pox, but I was doing a spelling bee and I spelled the word girl wrong. And I was so embarrassed and I felt so disappointed. And my parents were in the audience and I was like, wow, that's really embarrassing. And so knowing that my business puts me on stages in different capacities and wanting to get more comfortable with it instead of being all nervous and have my hands sweat and, have a shaky voice. I didn't want to have that anymore and go back to that third grade me where I was just like so scared to be in front of anybody and be seen like that. It just really helps give you more control over your voice and knowing exactly what you need to do in order to have an impact. And so it's about knowing how you want somebody to feel when you're speaking and knowing how to be able to deliver that. And for me, that feeling is so important in that connection, and learning how to connect people with my voice has been so transformative in my business, because if I can't speak to somebody in the marketing sense, how the heck am I supposed to help transform them one-on-one if I can't even get them in through the door? So it's been really helpful, and it's been life-changing. It really has. So thank you.
Makes me so happy, especially because you're starting your own podcast. And that was something that you said that you were.
I would never do it.
Yeah.
No, it was literally something that I told myself, I'm never going to start a podcast. I don't have something to say that I think that I would be able to deliver in a way that would really help people. And I was just like, oh, well, maybe I'll just write it out. And then I had writer's block, and it wasn't my messaging that was off. It was the way that I was trying to communicate it. And I know that the power comes through my voice, and it was the only thing that was really holding me back. So
Wow. And look at you with your brand new microphone.
no, who am I?
Who are you? So much has changed.
I know. Again, I never thought I'd have a microphone either, but now here I am, boom arm and all.
I love it. And so, do you have a name for your new podcast?
I do. It's called the Reimagine Your Life podcast, and it should be out within the next week. So I am just excited.
Very exciting. Amazing.
you.
I'm so happy for you. All right,
you.
Audrey, what about you? Any aha moments when you were going through this where you noticed that shift? Because I've noticed it in you, because Audrey is part of my monthly actors workout group. And she started this year just so calm and relaxed and not robotic in her performance. And I was like, who is this Audrey? What?
I've got to live up to those words.
What changed?
Well, I think for me, it's when we really worked on my voice declaration. So we really had to look back into my past history as well with my voice story, and to really come up with a statement that I say before I start talking that really gets me out of my head and that makes me feel relaxed. And even before the podcast now, I would say it in my head a few times, even before chats to camera. I would always just take that deep breath and just be in that state of calm and always say that statement, and it would just put me at ease. So for me, that was one of the aha moments, to actually just come from a place that's happy, that it's enjoyable, and that it is fun, because I had quite a few issues about enjoying the whole process. I wasn't having fun a lot of the times, and now I am. It's what we really talked about, was it's okay to be myself and to show up as me. And with the statements that you said to me, Audrey, let it come out the way it's meant to come out, and it will be okay. So that was a big aha moment. And also, I was trying for it to sound perfect. I had that perfectionist syndrome, and it would really stop me from doing things. So for me now, I just go out there, I say things, and I know that I'm sending the message across, and it's also up to the other person as well. So you took a lot of the pressure off me, and you also put that, not that pressure, so to speak, but that back and forth between, I guess, the person that you're talking to and yourself, because it is that partnership. It's not just you, it's about the other person. And that's what really was ingrained in me. It's about them.
It's so good. And I'm so pleased because that perfectionism was such a big part of how you spoke. And I think that's been really beneficial to see you release yourself from that need of feeling like everything you said had to be spoken a certain way. And now it's so much more enjoyable and it feels more enjoyable. But for us as the audience, when I watch you now, I'm so captivated because I can see that you're having fun. Whereas before, it looked like you were processing and I could see that it was work. Now
Exactly.
you're having fun.
Because you'd ask me to put things down on camera and you could see it in my eyes, you could see it in my face. It came through in every part of my body. And exactly what you're thinking comes through in your entire body. So for me, I just had to put my mind at ease and just do the work. And it became so much more effortless when I did that. So thank you, Katherine.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure. Well, ladies, I want to know now, Dana, you're still going through it, but how working with this quote unquote new voice that you have, it's not really a new voice, it's really just owning your true voice, the voice that you now feel empowered with. How has that shifted how you use your voice in your business? Do you find that you're using your voice more or differently? Are you showing up differently? Are you noticing any results? Anyone can chime in.
I mean, I do hypnosis, so it's all with my voice, and being able to lean into certain words differently, I'm finding that it has really helped deepen the transformation for my clients when they come out, which is really beautiful. And then there is just the certain I guess you'd want to say you need to command a certain presence when somebody is so deep in hypnosis, because it keeps them in, but they also have to trust you while you're doing it. Otherwise they'll snap right out of it. And it's carried through in that way. I feel like even when I speak to my husband, when I'm really trying to relay a message, it's not just me chit-chatting, but I know how to use my voice in a really effective way. Say, like, if it's something a little bit more emotional, or I really want him to listen, it's really helpful. And then just really, it helps you not only in your everyday life, it helps you in your business. It helps you. For me, I even now record voice memos on what I want to say or write out. I never was a content writer when it came to write. Like, I would just write things down, but it never felt right. But now that I know that I can use my voice in a really effective way, I find myself doing voice memos all the time while I'm making coffee, because that's when I get the best ideas in my head. I'm nowhere near my computer. And so I just put it in there, but it's now with my voice. And when I speak, it comes out very differently than if I were to have typed it and then perfect it. So yeah, there is some perfection after I write it, but it feels really good. And I still script sometimes because for me, it helps me with my flow and understanding, but I can riff off. I can go in another direction. I can be more candid, and it feels like it's effortless. It doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, I've lost my spot in my script. I'm totally messed up on my webinar or whatever it is. And, or I need to re-record this. It doesn't matter, because sometimes the things that you ad lib are the best parts. And I feel confident and comfortable now that I can always bring it back if I want to, but it's kind of like improving. And guys, I am not an actress, like, at all. And so for me, I was always just really afraid to speak. And I know that you work with so many different people, and I think that the really beautiful thing about working with you is that you meet us where we are. And it's not like I have to be this actress that's gone through school and learning how to use my voice in a different way. It's, hey, I'm a business owner and I'm afraid to speak in front of people. And that was it. And then you took me through all these other exercises, how to start working with my voice, whether it was more in the front of my mouth or opening up my palate, or I didn't even realize how important these things were. to being trusted, because your voice has, like, people aren't going to work with you if they don't trust you, period.
Yeah.
And they trust you when they hear you speak.
That's right. And how easily you can block, or you don't even realize that you're physically blocking your audience from that connection with your
Yeah.
voice by the actual speech muscles, what you're doing with
Yeah.
it. You can either allow that sound out to share it with your audience, or you can hold it back in
Yeah.
and cut off that
Exactly.
connection. Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, I have to ask, like, if you do people ever spend money with people that they don't trust? And so if you're a
Right.
business
Yeah.
owner, that's the scary part. I mean, if you're not getting your voice out there, and if you are not somebody that they're really connecting with, and you don't understand why, you're like, hey, all I want to do is help them. But if there's something in your voice that you can't tell what's wrong, they can pick up on something, and your nerves might signal to them, oh, I can't trust you to work for me to invest in you. And that's the scary part. So now being able to do this with my voice and being able to share what's on my heart, but also have it come out the right way, it's really helpful.
It's great too
Really
because,
helpful.
you've recently pivoted your business. So for you to
Yeah.
be able to open up your voice at this time, I think is very exciting for you to be able to share and communicate what you do. And you're doing it now. You've got the podcast going, you're getting new clients. Everything's happening.
It's all happening.
So exciting.
Yeah.
I forgot what my
Giddy
question
me.
was. Anyone else want to chime in? I was talking about how do you use your
Yeah.
voice in a new way now? Yeah.
I'll chime in. As a new entrepreneur, being on the online space was something that was just new to me and scary in and of itself, much less trying to speak or say something. So I hid behind my post and even some reels. And
Were you doing the
the
dancing and the
idea,
pointing?
I am a pointer. I am a pointer and a and I won't say dancing. I will say shimmy. I would shimmy a little. I'm not a great dancer, so that scared me as well. But the honest truth is now I desire to speak. I want to say something. And isn't that really the point? It's to, talk to those people and to help those people, my people, whoever they are, when and if they find me, I want them to hear me. I don't want them just to see me dancing to someone else's voice. And that's empowering. Just this simple fact that I have the desire to speak is alone I'm just thankful that it's there, and I'm still learning, I'm still growing. We still have a lot of work to do, but the main thing that I came for was confidence, and I feel like that already is here, and we're not even done. We're not even done.
So good. So good. I'm so pleased to hear that. And it's just little things like we were talking about your webinar and just working on the transitions. And it's those finer moments that help build that confidence when you go, okay, this is an area that I know that I'm struggling. How can I shift that? And
Yeah,
I
because
think we did, didn't we?
before we worked together, I never listened to my webinar. Never. I did it. It's done. I'll send the replay, and that's it. I
I think that's
never
probably
listened to
pretty
myself.
common too. Wouldn't you
Yeah.
say, Lindsay? Because you're also in the online space. I think that's very common. Yeah. Well, I'm glad, Dana, and you're doing tremendously well. And yeah, like you said, there's still plenty more time of us working together. I don't think we're even at the halfway mark. So you're doing incredibly well, and it's just such a joy to watch you grow and work with you. And
I'm
Audrey,
excited to actually. I just
yeah.
wanted to say one last
Oh,
thing,
yeah.
that the idea that when I speak, I can hear what we're talking about. I can hear, oh, there, I did that, I need to fix that. There it is, that I'm even identifying it, where before that clarity just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the confidence is there. It's because I know what I need to work on and I'm willing to do the work.
Amazing. Thank you. And Audrey, anything from you about how you use your voice differently now than before?
I think I notice it in my work. At the start of the year, I remember I had to redo a monologue that I did from a year ago, and I noticed the difference between how it sounded, for example, a couple of weeks ago to what it sounded from a year ago. And for me, it was using that imagery whenever I was going through the whole monologue, those words, those key words that really brought it out of me. And I just found that when I was imagining all the things that I was talking about, it was coming across so much more authentic. I was living through it, and it's as if it was in my being. So I think for me, it made me feel more present. And I was also listening to myself a lot more, but also even in a scene with other people, especially from the start of this year, I was listening so much more to the other person, and that was enough for me. I didn't have to overdo it. That's all I needed. So just those three key things, just the imagery, being present, and listening.
Oh, so
And that was
good.
it.
That's it.
That's it.
So good.
And it just made the world of difference, just those minor little tweaks.
Oh, I love it. Well, this has been such a joy to speak with all of you because you're all in totally different businesses. And, Dana's only just working through the program now. Audrey and Lindsay, you've already gone through it. So it's just great to see everyone's journey. For anyone that's listening to us talk right now and they're considering joining, but they're not sure, maybe they're too busy or they just don't really know if it's really right for them, what would you say to them?
Oh, well, oh gosh, if you feel like your business can actually wait for you not to be bringing in more, then wait. But honestly, I don't think anyone is ever in the position, or any business owner really wants to wait any longer, because we're all here trying to grow our businesses and make them something that we are so proud of. And if you are on the fence, I mean, if this is something that's really holding you back in your business and would literally make or break it, why wait? Why wait another year or 6 months or whenever you decide to open it up again? Because you by far are one of the most compassionate people that I've ever worked with, and one of the most helpful. And it's not just about like going through these things by yourselves and trying to figure it out. You are literally holding our hand the entire way, and you care. And to find somebody who can invest themselves in their students like you have, it means so much, because it didn't feel like I was just sitting there doing it by myself. And I know that when I sit and do it by myself, I don't actually do it. So having that accountability and knowing that I wanted to show up, and I also wanted to just do better. And you were there and you met me where I needed to be. And I just really appreciate it. So,
No.
I mean, if people want to wait to grow their business, then wait. This has really been the key to helping me take off. So,
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. I've already said it before, but the cool thing about working on your voice is it is one of those things where you could jump into one class and immediately take something from it and see a shift and notice those results. It's that fast. Whereas in other things, it's a long process to start seeing those results. This happens so quickly.
yeah, it's like going to the salon and getting a haircut. Like you go in with like really frazzled hair and you come out and you're like, oh my gosh, I can already see a difference, you know? And but it just builds on top of it. Every single module, like it just gets better and better and better. But it's never anything where you feel like you're stretching yourself so much where it feels unattainable. It's broken down in such a way where it's easy to put together. You do need to practice, like anything that you want to get good at, you need to practice, but it's a judgment-free zone, and you can look like a fool if you want to, and no one's going to judge, which is beautiful.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, thank you for that. Did anyone else want to touch on that, or any final words?
Yeah,
I,
I'd
I
like to
would like
say
to,
even
yeah, don't.
Go ahead, Audrey, and then
I
we'll
feel,
go to Dana.
okay. I feel, don't be scared. Just get out there out of your comfort zone. I know it's hard taking the first step, and just go out there and try it. And as Lindsay said, you're very encouraging and the feedback is always constructive, and you are there every step of the way, and you can make mistakes, and that's all right. And you make us aware of everything that's going on. And I think you give us the tools. I know you give us the tools to fix what's going wrong or what you think needs improvement. So I just think go out there and make it happen, and you will be there every step of the way. So thank you, Katherine, for all your encouragement, and when you call us out when things aren't quite right. So you always make us accountable, and thank you for being your encouraging self.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I do call you out. Tough love, right? But
Always. But
I'm there.
necessary.
It's necessary. I'm there for you. No BS. Like, let's just not continue down that road, and let's make those changes that you want to make. Oh, thank you. All right, Dana, you were going to say something?
yes, my dog wanted to say something as well, but I
Oh.
had to tell him no. Well, I was just going to say, if you are here, if they have tuned into you, they stopped for a moment to listen, they've already identified that this is an area maybe that they need to work on. And so I would say, don't ignore that. We have those, those cues or those things that we're like, oh, I know I'm not quite there yet, but is it worth it? Because there's so many other things. Like, I'm a new entrepreneur, as I stated. There's so many other things that we can be focused on. But this is important because our voice is our business. And if we don't have the confidence that we need to share the information that we need to share, then what's the point in investing in all these other areas? And so I agree that this investment to be able to have the confidence to use your voice to sell your product or convey a message or whatever it is you're using it for, whatever business you have, that this ability to use your voice in a way that is impactful is powerful, and it's worth it. And so take that time, take that moment to consider it seriously, because I can already say for me, absolutely worth it. And I know it could be worth it. So thank you, Katherine. I do love the fact that you do challenge us. You say, okay, I know that there's more in you, and you pull it out. And that's what a good coach does. That's what a good coach does. And so I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I appreciate all of you, and it's such a joy to watch you grow and get the results that you're dreaming about, and it really is the same for me, is finding that confidence to share your beautiful message with the world, share your voice with the world. I feel it. I'm the reason why I teach what I teach is because I felt the same way growing up and needed to discover how to own my voice and be proud of my voice. So it all comes from love, and I'm so happy to share it with all of you. And thank you for joining me today. It's been such a treat to chat with all of you, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Katherine. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. That's it from us. Thank you for watching, or thank you for listening. And I'll speak to you soon.